First time playing Silent Hill, the game from 98 or 99, I was expecting a lot of issues. I was expecting there to be big problems with the controls, and I was pleasantly surprised with that. It controls really well. I thought the combat was going to be pretty stiff, and it was actually really fun. They give you a lot of ammo. They give you a lot of places to save. They give you a lot of health. And there's a lot of big open environments, and they don't really overload you with enemies. And I had a lot of fun with that really long weapon, the hammer, that if you time it right as they're coming up, you can really bash them. It has a really great, impactful feel, and then also doing that killing blow when they're on the ground, the big boot, or just like smacking them, is awesome. Horky, you're saying gameplay-wise feels like the exact opposite of Resident Evil. Yeah, absolutely. Resident Evil, I feel like they really... they're... In Resident Evil 1, it's more like ammo conservation. They limit how many times you can save. And you're constantly going from one end of the mansion to the other and avoiding zombies as you just kind of grab arbitrary things to put in arbitrary places. Whereas the puzzles in this one, I wonder if this is if this replay that is playing after the game is from our game. Yeah, it felt like Resident Evil is more of a chores, whereas the puzzles in Silent Hill, man, that one with the astrology symbols was really good. That light one was kind of interesting with the camera, and a lot of them, they felt great. They were actually things you would think about. I took pictures on my phone. I wrote notes down, and I wasn't able to solve them all, but the ones that I couldn't solve on my own, I didn't feel like they were needlessly unfair and, stupidly challenging. And then, of course, the music in this game and the sound effects work so well together, where a lot of the sound effects are songs of their own. They're these atonal, rhythmic pieces that are so good. The atmosphere, and I mean, the music is so famous 20 years on, because it was not something you would expect to hear in a horror movie. But it does have this feeling of maybe a 60s horror movie or like 60s alternative film, because there's a lot of this kind of like spy guitar and like jangly guitar and tape effects and stuff, trying to make it sound like it's older than it is, like you're hearing it on an old record player or something. And the way that they show the ending pieces, where they introduce you to the characters again. Also, yeah, the ability to have the multiple endings, that's really interesting. There's some hidden stuff. It was pretty cool to just explore the town. I enjoyed most of exploring it, other than kind of like the alternative buildings were a bit kind of dingy and samey looking, because they're just like rust, and I get it, that's what you want to do to create it, but it's that made it kind of confusing to get around. I was surprised that I didn't really feel all that scared by it. I mean, I was more like, I was definitely engaged, but I was more kind of disturbed a lot of the time. It was more like playing Bloodborne, where you're just going like, what is this? What's happening? But not like, what I really liked about it? There were no jump scares, and there were no just like gross things. You know how a lot of new horror games have it, where they go and then you grab the, like, what's that one Resident Evil where you're just constantly chopping the guy's hand off and his fingers, and yeah, it's not just shock and it's not just jump scare. It's more like a cool atmospheric thriller that I would probably play again, just because I like the length of it, and it was interesting just exploring. All this stuff like has nothing to do with the game. Well, it has a lot to do with the game, but it didn't actually happen in the game. So I'd say for someone playing it for the first time in 2021, albeit somebody who has experience with old PlayStation games, I was very pleasantly surprised. And it's an incredible atmospheric relic of a gem of the PS1 era. I'm excited to play Silent Hill 2. Really enjoyed it. I'm glad that Lena and Prince bugged me for years to play it, and we finally did.